Hello everyone, welcome to the Sam Fury Show. In this episode, Sam from samfury.com and Aventuras from sfnonfictionbooks.com discuss the book The 4-Hour Chef, written by Tim Ferriss.
Right, so you know how we're always talking about wanting to learn new things,
Yeah.
but the traditional ways are just so slow?
Yeah, totally.
Well, today's deep dive is all about finding some shortcuts.
Okay, I like this already.
We're diving into The 4-Hour Chef by Timothy Ferriss.
Oh, cool.
And get this, it's not just a cookbook. It's a whole system for learning any skill faster.
Seriously. Anything.
He claims anyone can become world-class at any skill within 6 months.
All right, now I'm really interested.
And he gives you the steps to do it.
I'm hooked. Tell me more.
So Ferriss lays out these two acronyms, DIS and CAFE.
Dis and cafe. Okay, that sounds kind of interesting.
And these are your secret weapons to learning anything faster.
Secret weapons.
Yeah, think of it that way.
Okay, I'm game.
So DISassess is all about deconstructing a skill,
Okay.
selecting the most important parts, sequencing them the right way, and then adding stakes to keep you motivated.
Oh, interesting. All right, break it down for me.
Okay, so deconstruction.
Yeah.
That's like taking a big, complicated skill and breaking it into bite-sized pieces.
Gotcha. So, like, instead of trying to learn everything at once,
Exactly.
you break it down into smaller steps.
Yeah, like imagine you want to make ossobuco.
Osobuco, that sounds kind of hard.
Right, it sounds intimidating.
Yeah.
But instead of being overwhelmed by the whole recipe,
Mm.
you just focus on one step at a time.
So, like, what would those steps be?
You know, browning the meat,
Okay.
making the sauce, prepping the gremolata.
Right. And suddenly it doesn't seem so hard?
Exactly. It's all about finding those building blocks.
Okay, that makes sense. What about selection?
All right, so selection is all about efficiency.
Okay.
It's focusing on the 20% of effort. That gives you 80% of the results.
Oh, I like that. So what really matters?
Yeah, Ferriss calls it the minimal effective dose, or ME.
The MED.
Yeah, so why spend hours learning every single type of pasta when you could just master like 5 common shapes?
And be good to go for most recipes.
See.
Okay, I like that. It's all about maximizing your efforts.
Right, prioritize and maximize.
Now, what about sequencing?
Okay, so sequencing is where things get interesting.
How so?
Ferriss says the traditional order we learn things isn't always the most effective.
Really? Interesting.
For example, with language learning.
Okay.
He says you should prioritize speaking and listening first.
Before grammar.
Yeah, before grammar.
Huh. I never thought about that.
It's about finding the most efficient path.
To fluency.
Exactly.
So it's finding shortcuts in the learning process.
Yeah, instead of just blindly following the traditional way.
I'm starting to see the power of this DIS method.
Now for the scary part, stakes.
Stakes. What does that even mean?
So Ferriss believes fear of loss is a much more powerful motivator than the desire to win.
Interesting.
So he says you have to create real consequences
Oh.
if you don't follow through.
So, like, what kind of consequences?
You can get an accountability partner, make public commitments,
I could see that working.
or even use websites like Stick, where you put money on the line.
Wow. Okay, so you're really serious about this.
You have to be.
All right, I'm convinced. Now, what about cafe?
All right, so CAFE, that stands for compression, frequency, and encoding.
Compression, frequency, encoding.
And this is all about how you actually learn and retain information.
Okay, so how do you compress information?
So compression is about simplifying overwhelming tasks.
Okay, I need that in my life.
It's about focusing on small wins to build momentum.
So, like, what? Give me an example.
Instead of trying to learn every world cuisine at once,
Oh, right, that would be a lot.
you could just focus on mastering one technique,
Like what?
like making the perfect risotto.
Okay, I can see that.
It's all about breaking things down into those manageable chunks.
And celebrating the small victories along the way.
Exactly.
Okay, what about frequency? Is that just practicing a lot?
Yeah, it's all about hands-on experience. So Ferriss believes you learn way faster by actually doing something than just reading about it or watching someone else do it.
So, like, learning to ride a bike?
Exactly.
You can read about it all day,
Yeah,
but until you actually get on the bike,
you won't really learn it.
that's a great analogy.
So it's about applying that knowledge.
Okay, I get it. Frequency is crucial.
Last one, encoding.
Encoding, what's that all about?
That's making the information stick. It's about using techniques to enhance your memory.
Oh, interesting.
So things like mnemonics,
Okay.
visualization, creating vivid mental images to remember things.
So you're making learning more engaging and memorable.
Exactly. It's not just about learning the information.
You also got to retain it.
Exactly.
Wow, Dissess and Cafe, those are some powerful tools.
I know, right? I'm already feeling more equipped to tackle my own learning goals.
And the best part is, this can be applied to anything.
Really?
Yeah, a new language, photography,
Oh, wow.
coding.
Anything you want to learn?
This framework can help.
This is incredible.
It is.
So we've got our secret weapons for learning.
Yeah.
And now I want to know how he actually applies these to cooking.
Well, that's where the domestic section comes in.
Okay.
Ferriss shows you how to create incredible meals,
Even if you're a total beginner.
even if you've never cooked before.
All right. I am ready to dive in.
Let's get cooking. So we learned all about Dissess and Cafe.
Right, those meta learning tools.
Now it's time to see how Ferriss uses those in the kitchen.
Okay, I'm ready to get cooking.
This is the domestic section of the book, and you'll learn how to become a culinary ninja.
Without any fancy training.
Yeah, you don't need a culinary degree,
No,
and you don't need a kitchen full of expensive gadgets.
I like that. Making it accessible for everyone.
That's the point. Anyone can cook like a pro.
Okay, so what's the secret?
It's about mastering those core techniques
Okay.
and using simple tools.
To make those delicious meals.
Exactly. He breaks down intimidating dishes into simple steps.
Give me an example. What kind of intimidating dish?
Okay, how about osso buco?
Osso buco.
Yeah, that's in lesson 1.
It sounds so fancy.
I know, right?
Like something you'd order at a fancy restaurant.
But Ferriss makes it easy.
Oh, okay, so how?
He shows you how to brown the meat perfectly,
Yeah, okay.
create that rich, flavorful sauce, and even make the gremolata ahead of time
So you can impress your guests.
without stressing yourself out in the kitchen.
I like that. Stress-free cooking.
Exactly.
Now, what about healthy meals?
Oh, he's got you covered.
He does.
Yeah, in lesson 3, he talks about cauliflower mash.
Cauliflower mash.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
I've never even heard of that.
It's delicious and it's low carb.
So it's a good alternative to mashed potatoes.
Yes, and you won't even miss the potatoes.
Okay, I need to try this. What else?
Okay, what about steak?
Steak. Everyone loves a good steak.
Exactly. So Ferriss has a whole lesson on it.
Really?
Yeah, lesson 8.
Okay, does he share the secret to the perfect steak?
He does. It's all about dry brining.
Dry brining. What's that?
It's letting the steak sit with salt for a while before you cook it.
To make it more flavorful.
And more tender.
Okay.
He also says to use a probe thermometer.
A thermometer.
Yeah, so you can cook it to the exact temperature you want.
So it's perfectly juicy every time.
Every single time.
I'm already feeling like a better cook.
See, Ferriss makes it easy.
Now, what about dinner parties?
Ooh, those can be stressful.
I know, right?
But Ferriss has some advice for that too.
Really?
It's lesson 17.
Okay, what's the secret?
Set low expectations.
That's good advice for anything.
Right. Simplify the menu
Okay.
and have some backup plans.
In case things go wrong.
Exactly, because something always goes wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
It's more about enjoying your guests.
Then stressing about every little detail.
Exactly. It should be
Now,
fun.
you mentioned sauces earlier.
Oh, yeah, the immersion sauce.
The immersion sauces.
Yeah, Ferriss loves those.
So what are they?
He gives you his top 4 in lesson 11.
Okay.
Pesto, aioli,
Mm-hmm.
chimichurri,
Okay.
and another one that's super versatile.
Oh, wow. So you can use them on anything.
Yeah, grilled veggies, roasted meats.
It's like a flavor booster.
Exactly.
I'm loving all these practical tips.
That's what the 4-hour chef is all about.
Okay. But the book takes an interesting turn, right?
Oh, yeah. After the domestic, we go into the wild.
The wild.
Yeah, it's all about survival skills.
Survival skills. Like what?
Ferriss teaches you how to be prepared for anything.
So what kind of stuff does he cover?
How to build a shelter.
A shelter.
Yeah, a small insulated one to keep you warm.
Wow, that's in lesson 18.
Yeah, and then in lesson 19, he teaches you how to find and purify water.
Water purification.
Yeah, so important.
I bet. What kind of methods?
Like collecting morning dew
Okay.
or making a solar still.
A solar still? Like out of what?
He shows you how to make one with basic materials.
I'm already impressed.
And we haven't even gotten to foraging yet.
Foraging. Like for food.
Yeah, that's lesson 23.
Okay.
And he stresses how important it is to be absolutely certain about plant identification.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to eat something poisonous.
Exactly. So he gives you guidelines for that.
So you can forage safely.
Exactly.
Did Ferriss have any surprises when it came to foraging?
It did.
Really?
Ready for this one?
Okay, hit me.
Acorns.
Acorns. Like the things squirrels eat.
Yeah, those acorns.
You can eat those.
You can. Ferriss shows you how to prepare them.
How do you make them edible?
You have to leach them to remove the tannins.
Tannins.
Yeah, they can be bitter and even harmful.
Okay.
But once you leach them,
Hmm.
they become a really nutritious food source.
Wow, I never knew that.
And some people with nut allergies can even eat them.
That's amazing. What else?
Well, if you've ever wanted to catch a pigeon by hand.
Catch a pigeon? By hand?
Yep, that's lesson 26.
Really? Why would you want to do that?
Well, survival.
Oh, in a survival situation.
You need food.
I guess so. That's pretty intense.
It is, but it's a good skill to have.
What about cooking outdoors?
He covers that too.
He does.
Yep, lesson 27, he shows you how to build a hobo stove.
A hobo stove. What's that?
It's a makeshift stove.
Made out of...
A tin can and some twigs.
Wow, so resourceful.
Right, so you can cook anywhere.
I'm liking this wild section.
I know, right?
So what else do we learn?
Well, there's this ancient Argentinian cooking method.
Okay, what's it called?
Rescoldo.
Rescoldo.
Yeah, it's where you bury the food under embers.
Embers, like from a fire.
Yeah, and it creates these amazing flavors.
Okay, that sounds cool, but kind of hard to do at home.
Well, Ferriss gives you modern adaptations.
Okay.
So you can use a steel pail or even salt baking.
So you can try it even without an open fire.
Exactly.
So we've got shelter, water, food.
We're becoming survival experts.
But did Ferriss talk about the ethics of survival?
He did in lesson 33. He talks about butchery.
Butchery.
Yeah, and how it changes your perspective on
Uh-huh.
animals, seeing them as a source of food,
It's about respecting the animal.
and understanding where your food comes from.
It's a powerful lesson.
It is.
So the wild is all about pushing your boundaries
And embracing new challenges.
and learning new skills.
Exactly. But there's one more section to the 4-hour chef,
Oh, yeah. What's next?
the scientist.
Okay, that sounds a little intimidating.
It's not. It's actually really fun.
Okay, what's it all about?
Ferriss teams up with Nathan Myhrvold,
Who's that?
a culinary genius,
Okay.
and they explore molecular gastronomy.
Molecular gastronomy. That sounds complicated.
It's not as hard as it sounds.
So we've learned how to learn super fast.
Right. Dissen Cafe.
Mastered the domestic kitchen. Even explored the wild.
Survived out there.
Now it's time for the scientist.
All right, you ready for some molecular gastronomy?
I think so. It still sounds a little intimidating.
It's not. It's all about having fun in the kitchen.
Okay, well that sounds more like it.
Ferriss wants to make this stuff accessible.
So it's not just for fancy chefs.
Exactly. Anyone can do this.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me some examples.
Okay, so first up, the science of gels.
Gels. What kind of gels?
You know, turning liquids into those jiggly creations.
Oh, wow. Like what?
You can make fruit salads where the juice is a gel.
Wait, so the juice becomes like a solid?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But how do you do that?
He uses things like agar-agar and carrageenan.
Agar. What's that?
It's a seaweed extract.
Seaweed. In my food.
It's actually really common.
Huh. I never knew that.
It's all about understanding the science.
Okay, so it's like culinary magic, but with science.
Exactly. It's fun and delicious.
What about spherification?
Oh, yeah, that's where you turn liquids into little spheres.
Those tiny caviar-like things.
Yes, exactly.
I've always wondered how they do that.
It's easier than you think.
Really?
Ferriss uses a mojito as an example.
A mojito.
Yeah, he turns it into these little spheres.
So you get bursts of flavor in your mouth.
Exactly. It's a whole new cocktail experience.
That's amazing. I need to try that.
What about foams?
Foams. Like on those fancy desserts?
Yes, those airy foams.
I was wondering how they make those.
It's actually pretty simple.
It is.
You use soy lecithin.
Soy lecithin. What even is that?
It's a natural emulsifier.
Okay, but what does it do?
It helps create those airy bubbles.
So it's like a cloud of flavor.
Exactly. It melts on your tongue.
Okay, now that sounds delicious.
And it looks so impressive.
Now this is all very fancy.
Yeah.
But what about something more practical?
Like what?
Like, I love jerky, but it's expensive.
Oh, well, Ferriss has a chapter for you.
He does?
Yeah, the science of dehydration.
So I can make my own jerky.
You got it. He walks you through the whole process.
Okay, and what's the secret?
Thin slices of meat,
Okay,
like brisket.
brisket jerky. That sounds amazing.
You marinate it
Mhm.
and then dry it in an open door oven.
So it's like a gourmet jerky.
Exactly, and it lasts a long time.
Perfect for snacking.
Or even as a survival food.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm making my own jerky.
Now, if you're into wine,
Oh, I am.
you got to check out the science of oxidation.
Oxidation. What does that have to do with wine?
It's all about how oxidation affects the flavor.
Okay.
And Ferriss talks about hyperdecanting.
Hyperdecanting. That sounds intense.
It's basically blending your wine.
blending it.
Yeah, to speed up the oxidation process.
So you're aging the wine faster.
Exactly, without having to wait years.
Now that's a party trick.
Right, instant aged wine.
Okay, I'm saving that one.
Now for the big one, liquid nitrogen.
All right. I'm a little scared, but also excited.
It's definitely for the adventurous cook.
So what do you do with it?
You can make instant ice cream.
Instant ice cream.
Yeah, it's super smooth and creamy.
But how does it work?
It freezes the ice cream so fast that the ice crystals are super tiny.
So it's smoother than regular ice cream.
Exactly, but you got to be careful with liquid nitrogen.
Oh, I know. It's dangerous stuff.
Safety first, always.
But wow, liquid nitrogen ice cream.
It's on another level.
Okay, so that's the scientist.
It's all about pushing the boundaries of cooking.
And using science to create amazing food.
Exactly. It's so much fun.
I'm inspired to get in the kitchen and experiment.
That's what Ferriss wants. He wants you to be creative.
Now, this has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We learned how to learn anything faster.
Dissin Cafe.
Mastered the domestic kitchen.
Like pros.
Explored the wild and learned survival skills.
We're ready for anything.
And even delved into the science of cooking.
Molecular gastronomy, here we come.
It's amazing how much we can learn from the 4-Hour Chef.
It's a game changer.
It really is. So, if you're looking to level up your life,
In any area,
check out the 4-Hour Chef.
you won't regret it.
Until next time, happy learning and bon appetit.
Thanks for tuning in to The Sam Fury Show. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com to get free access to all our original summaries, which you can download as PDFs, as well as other exclusive content. It's all completely free at samfury.com.